first thing I'm going to do is change the background to sort of customize my slide. I've got a folder with some of the images I plan to use already, so I just drag and drop them into upload, and I'm going to hit done on that. I'm going to title this with my level. In this case I'm making level 3, which is sort of my pro level. And on each level I have students doing a different theme, both in terms of the video game theme and in terms of the theme of the projects. So for level 3 I chose a Minecraft theme just to keep things interesting. Level 1 I had Pac-Man, level 2 I had Mario, level 3 I'm putting Minecraft, just to keep kids' interest, because it's sort of fun for them to see what's going to be the new theme when they level up. And for this level I'm going to have art careers as the theme, so each challenge is going to be based on an art career, like fashion design or architecture, or students could be photographers or sculptors or painters, graphic designers, all things like that. So a lot of this is just sort of decorating it, adjusting the typeface, choosing the colors of the fonts and things like that. But I always like to have one slide in the beginning that sets the stage for the rest of it, that announces the level and sort of tells them the theme and what they're going to be doing. I'm going to add a slide, and on this slide I'm going to make my badge board. So I'm putting in a generic background, which is sort of blocky Minecraft type graphics, just typing my badges up at the top, and I'm going to put in a collection of badges that students can earn. Now, after playing with this a few different ways, what I have found to be the best way to do it is I put a color copy of the digital badge and then a black and white version in there. So I'm just going to copy and paste the collection that I had all set to go in a Google Doc and paste that into here. Oh, I realized I forgot one badge, which is the Mr. Woods Challenge badge. I always put in a sort of catch-all, which is the Mr. Woods Challenge, because there are certain weeks where I need to have the entire class do something, so when I need to remove the element of choice, they still earn a badge for doing Mr. Woods Challenge. After I've got my collection of all the badges as color copies in here, what I'm going to do is select them all, and I'm going to hit Command D to duplicate, and I'm going to format options to change it black and white. So I put a black and white copy on top of my color copy. I know some people might do this as a black and white copy and then just reset the image, but since my students are working on iPads, it is best that they just delete the grayscale image to earn the badge, because you can't reset using the Slides app on the iPads. Now I put in this placeholder image for where I want them to put a picture of their work, and I even made that image say tap here and replace this image, so that it's sort of directions for them. When they tap the image, one of the options that comes up is from the drop down menu is replace, and from the replace they can use the camera to snap a photo. I create a box on the side of that which is going to have the learning targets for the project. So that gets to the meat of the challenge. I got to think about what do I want the students to learn, and what skills do I want them to demonstrate in order to earn a badge. I always put this little folder icon down on each slide, and that folder icon is going to be linked to my folder of resources on the Google Drive. So I've got my art project demos folder. I'm going to get a shareable link, and then I'm going to hit Command K and Command V to paste it in and make that little icon a link to the Google Drive folder. I'm then going to put in a little icon of a sample project that students could do to earn the badge, and I'm going to link my sample project to the video that shows how that specific project is done. So what I'm going to do is get that sized so it will fit on my slide. I'm going to find the video that demonstrates how that specific project is done. I'm going to right click and get a shareable link, and then put that link in so that if they tap on the folder icon, it'll take them to the folder of all my demonstration videos and resources for them. And if they tap on the sample project, that'll take them to a video that shows how that exact project was done. I'm going to type in learning targets because I always tell my students that the sample project is just one way of hitting the targets, and they really need to focus on the skills that they are demonstrating instead of just looking at the pictures. I get mixed results on that. I'd be lying if I said half the kids weren't just looking at pictures. Up at the top, I like to type what badge they can earn by carrying out this challenge. And I'm going to put in an image of that badge for them so that they can see which badge they get if they can create a project that meets those requirements. A lot of the rest of this is really just sort of decorating and formatting and adjusting and personalizing how you want that all to look. I'll probably spend quite a bit of time tweaking the color schemes, typefaces, and stuff like that to get something that I want. I'm going to format it so that my words are centered vertically and things like that. And after I've got a slide that looks the way I want it to look, as sort of like a template for each challenge that I'm going to create for students, then what I'm going to do is duplicate that slide. So after I've worked out all my design stuff, I select the slide, Command D will duplicate it, and I'm going to use that as a template. So I'm going to create my Mr. Woods Challenge badge. I'm going to put that up on the top, and I just basically change the learning targets. I change I change the title at the top, essentially, for the slide. I might change the sample project according to the learning targets. But I want every slide to have the same sort of layout so that, one, it's faster and easier for me, and two, it keeps it familiar for the students. Sometimes I might change things like the color of the header so that it signals to students it's a different badge. But I try to keep a lot uniform so they know where to look for the learning targets, where to look for links, where to look for sample projects, and where to put the image of their work. Now, as you look at this slide, up in the top left corner where it says connecting, I put in the National Core Arts Standard, which is sort of the overarching principle of this level of my art game. Then right under that, I have the specific learning targets. The folder icon in the bottom left corner links to my folder with all my video demonstrations. The collection of fish there is a sample project, and that leads directly to a link showing how that specific project is done. I put in a placeholder image on the right hand side. I made that image say tap here and replace, because when students need to put in evidence of their work, they simply tap that image, and then from the drop-down menu, they should select replace to open up the camera and take a photograph of their work. And then finally in the top, I put a picture of the badge and labeled that badge as the printmaker badge or whichever other badge they might be going for. From a student's perspective, what they're going to do is open up the Slides app, and they're going to use the search tool and just search for their name. I tell all students to name their file after their class and then their name. So I'm going to open up this one that says 5K Mr. Wood. That's my sample from one of my 5th grade classes. And they have, this slide deck is essentially a menu of project choices for them. I like to give students a lot of choices, but usually at the younger grades I might limit the scope a little bit to maybe 2 choices per badge. And they find the slide with the badge they want to go for. After they complete a project, they tap my sample image, hit replace, and use the camera to take a photo. So I've got my maraca here, and I'm going to snap a quick photo. I'm going to use that photo, and it gets formatted into the slide. And the next thing I'm going to do is tap and hold that slide and drag it up to the top of my slide deck. I tell my students to put slides with evidence of their work right after their badge board. And that way, when they're ready to level up, I've got 5 slides in a row I can look at to verify their work. So to give themselves the badge, or for me to give them the badge, I just tap the grayscale and hit delete. For another badge, take another picture. So tap here, replace from camera. I'm going to snap a photo of this print. Use the photo. And again, I tap and hold to drag that slide up to the beginning of the slide deck. So evidence of my work is right after my badge board. Tap the grayscale and delete to colorize the badge. I'm just deleting the grayscale image, which is right on top of my color image. On the iPads and the Slides app, we don't have the option to reset an image, which is why my badge board is 2 layers of images on top of each other. So again, I'm going to just put in evidence of a 5th badge, use the photo, tap and hold the slide to drag it up, and now this is an example of a slide deck with evidence to level up. I've got 5 badges. In my classes, I'm only requiring 5 badges to level up. When a student is ready to level up, they bring their iPad to me and show me the evidence of their work. And I have, in these different tabs, I have the master documents for each level. So I just Command C, copy all of the slides here, and then I go to another tab where I can search for their document. So I search for 5K Mr. Wood. I open up their document. So I look at the slides to verify that they actually have 5 slides with pictures of their work, demonstrating that they earned the badge. Then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to delete all the slides after the evidence of their work. So I just select the first, hold down Shift, and click the last in the series. I hit delete, and then Command V will paste in all of the slides I copied from the other tab. I always choose to link the slides. And one of the cool things is, from the student's perspective, even though they haven't done anything to refresh this slide deck, when they look, the slides just suddenly appear in their slide deck. So I can push this out to them because this computer is logged into the same Drive account as their slide decks. So that makes it really easy for me to verify things for them, and it also makes it easy for me to push things out to them. So like I say, if I do something on this computer, it instantly shows up on their iPad. So if I take this level 2 slide and I delete it from the computer, it is magically gone from their iPad. I'm obviously going to put that back in, and once again, it appears right here in their iPad version as well. So what does this look like in the classroom? It's a lot of fun because at every table there are lots of different projects happening. It is a bit more work in the prep, but having students self-directed also makes it more interesting, as you get to see a little bit more personality come through when students are choosing what they want to do from day to day. To help support students, I created stations with all the different supplies, and on the sign for each station, I put a QR code that links to a folder full of demonstrations of how to use those materials. As with any project, a fair number of students will simply copy the sample that I've provided, but there will be a lot of students who surprise you. There are a lot of students who do something unexpected with the materials, and it makes everything a lot more interesting, and it sparks more ideas and creativity from the kids as well as me. Students are learning from each other more, but I'm also getting better insight into the kids as individuals and myself as a teacher. The initial setup is a bit of work, but that investment of time and effort at the start pays huge dividends as both students and teacher become more engaged and the scope of learning expands dramatically.